We've been prevented from meeting as a church physically for 13 Sundays now. It was all the way back on the 16th of March that the Prime Minister announced the lockdown that came in the light of the coronavirus. That's a long time, almost a quarter of a year of us meeting for services online. The past 13 weeks have been marked with lots of change and uncertainty. These have brought around a range of emotions in all of us, and these emotions haven't always been easy to understand. In speaking to you today, I'm aiming to do two things. First, I want to help us make sense of how we've been feeling by mapping out the different stages of the lockdown and our experiences of them. Secondly, and more briefly, I'm wanting to explain how the elders and deacons are beginning to make preparations for when we can meet together again. Not that we're expecting that to be anytime soon. A few weeks ago, Peter Skerritt, our assistant pastor, and I attended a seminar run online by the FIEC. That's a church grouping that we're a part of. A major part of this seminar was a pastor speaking about the different phases of the lockdown and how we might feel in response to each of those stages. I found this a really helpful description of what lockdown will look like and a really helpful way to understand not only my feelings in response to it, but also the feelings of other people. Let me describe the three phases that were mapped out. The first stage is an initial response, and this lasts 2, maybe 3 weeks. This stage was marked by a heightened sense of anxiety and even excitement. We were daunted by the restrictions and the changes that each and every one of us had to face. This brought with it a sense of disorientation as the structures we were so familiar with were removed from us. And a sense of excitement as new opportunities came our way with the new structures we had to establish. I know that lots of us have really appreciated the opportunities presented to us to get to know our neighbours in recent weeks. I was really grateful for the way that the elders, staff team, deacons, home group leaders, pastoral care team worked really hard to establish new patterns of working that enabled the church to keep meeting and to keep caring for one another. Stage 2 is developing routine. This lasts for a number of months and has yet to come to an end. This stage is marked by a growing sense of frustration and even boredom as the novelty of our situation wears off. We long for things to go back to the way that they used to be, and our frustrations can cash out in being critical of those in authority, feeling sorry for ourselves, and being impatient with, almost anyone and anything. I'm pretty sure no one is finding this second stage easy. I thank God for the way that many people in our church have seized the opportunities of this stage. Opportunities to reach out, to care for people, both inside and outside of the church. Opportunities to grow in our knowledge and love of God. All of these things are just wonderful evidence of God being at work amongst us. Stage 3 is a stage of gradual recovery. And the word to focus on here is that word, gradual. This stage hasn't really started yet, although we've maybe seen some little indications of it. And when it comes to meeting together on a Sunday as God's people, it doesn't look like that's going to start for some time yet. When it does start, it is likely to last many months as we start to return to the more normal patterns of church life. A sense of thanksgiving will mark this final phase as we return to meeting as God's people physically together. But it will also be marked by a sense of dissatisfaction because the new normal won't be like the old normal, at least not for some time. We're going to have to work hard to find new ways of doing things, and that is likely both to take time and to feel odd. The opportunity now to meet in our gardens gives us a very small taste of this gradual recovery that we are longing for. We had our first elders meeting a couple of weeks ago in our garden, and it was just a thrill to be able to meet face to face, to talk and to pray together. And I would urge you to take full advantage of this and all the future opportunities that we're given as the gradual recovery begins to roll in, so to help us meet with other people from church and to care for other people too. But hear me clearly when I say that we're still a way off meeting together in this building on a Sunday. Now that's both hard for me to say and you to hear, but I think it is true. How should we respond as God's people through all of these things? Well, we should respond in patient trust. Patient trust that calls out to God for the help that we need. Patient trust that casts all of our cares and anxieties onto God. As Philippians chapter 4 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Before we finish, let me say a brief word on how the elders and deacons are making preparations for the future. We're currently thinking through how we might be able to start running Sunday services in a way that both is genuine and observes the social distancing requirement and other restrictions that we're facing. We'd love you to be praying for us as we start to plan for these things. It is no small task. In the weeks ahead, we will be in touch with further details. But as I'm sure you're aware, we are waiting for the government to advise us when it is appropriate for churches to begin meeting together. And my hunch is that that's still a little way off just now. This message comes with much love in the Lord Jesus and prayers to you all. Thanks for listening.